Hey friends, today we're working on my good old Cummins swapped bullnose, but in particular window actuator. This window wasn't rolling up anymore. It would go when you tried to do it. And I've encountered that before. So to take the door panel off, you take this screw out, and then you got to pop all these clips off on the inside. Most of these are damaged. I'm going to see if I have any more in my cases, my collection there. Some of these are actually missing. That bottom one's broken actually. So you want to be real careful with all this. And then once you've got it popped loose, you got to remember it hooks into the top, so you can't pull it off the top, and there's no clips up top. So then once you've got it popped loose, once you've got all these clips off and that screw out, you can loosen it on the bottom, pull it out, and then pop it up to unhook it up top. And then you can pull this away enough to unclip your window switches and your window and your lock switch. You got to be real careful. These clips break real easy if you break them. And you got to use silicone to hold them in place, and that's no fun. So then undo your two window switches, and then unplug your, actually I guess that comes later. Undo your window switches, be very careful. And then you have to finesse the door handle as well when you're pulling that out. There's a rubber in there, don't lose that. And then you got to pull this up while you're kind of working it forward and off. That's why you want to make sure you have all this out of the way and anything connected unplugged. This is just vapor barrier and alien tape. Picked that up at Walmart. And vapor barrier we had kicking around. I'm sure you can get it pretty much anywhere. And it helps quite a bit actually for noise and for cold air coming in. Makes a big difference when you're in cold climates. So anyway, once you've got this off, you got your window regulator in there, and of course your window you got to be very careful with. So you want to undo your screws in there. All the screws holding it in. I think in my case there was 4. One of these screws is actually still in here. These are just 8mm screws in my case. I'm sure there's a standard equivalent, but actually I'll put them down there. So there was 4 of them. You pop those off, but you want to be holding your window when you do, because it's going to drop down. This thing is going to crash down into the door, so I'd be a little bit careful with that too, because you never know. You could probably put a dent in the outside of your door if you're not careful. So maybe it helps to have 2 people. I'm doing this by myself, but maybe have somebody hold the window up, and then have, you know, somebody else, yourself I guess, somebody holding the window, and then you hold that actuator as you pull it out. You kind of got to finesse it. I think it only comes out really if you have it all the way down. So maybe you might have to have it up first when you take it off, and then have somebody hold the window and then plug it in enough to make it go down again. That seemed to be the only way that I could work it out through here. It's a bit of a trick. Play with it if you need to, figure it out. Then when you've got it out, you got to take it apart, of course. And obviously this motor is going to be screwed on to this here, and that's how that works. It'd be 3 screws there. This plate will be on here like that, and then you just undo that, and then you'll have 1 Phillips here. Once you have this unbolted from here, you pull that Phillips off, which is right here, and then you want to carefully with a screwdriver pry this off here, and then you'll have this bad boy sitting in there like that. And it's that worm gear in there that drives these plastic gears here. Somebody said that they do break. I've never broke one, and I guess I've never seen one break either, but I suppose it's possible, especially if you're doing the next part wrong. So then when you have this off and that cover off, you want to be careful you don't lose anything, of course. I'm not very organized, unfortunately. But then try to work it out. Maybe if you just grab the gear and work it, you can do that as well. That should help. I used a little bit of screwdriver to try to notch it out a little bit, but then when you pull it out, typically what goes bad in these is they've got a triangle in there. It's like a clutch of sorts, and they have what I believe is plastic balls in there, and you'll see it when you pull yours out. You're going to have it covered in grease. It's a nasty mess. It's all going to look like that and like that. But they have little balls in there, I believe. I don't remember what was in mine, but that's just what I saw in other videos. And those balls, once they basically break, then eventually this is just going to crush all the plastic out, and then you're not going to have any clutch anymore. It's just going to free spin in there. And we already did this once before. I can't remember if it was this side or the other side, and I feel like we probably used silicone instead of the plastic. But yeah, we siliconed it in. This time I used hot glue. I'm going to see how it holds up. I kind of doubt that it will. Some people have gone and just put something metal, like metal nuts, lock nuts, or whatever they can fit in the recess in there, in each corner. Because this is also, the back of this is also triangle, but smaller, and it's kind of like a lock clutch in there. Once it reaches that you know, whatever's in the way there, it locks it in, and that way it can flex a little bit and it doesn't break this plastic gear. And like I said, what I used is hot glue. It should give it enough flex to not break the plastic gear, hopefully. But at the same time, hopefully it won't just squeeze out right away. I'm pretty sure it won't. But as you can tell, I just hot glued it in. I think I might give it another little dab in there as well. And we will see, actually. I'm going to see if my phone doesn't die before I put all this together. And then I can show you guys whether or not it works. And then, of course, to reassemble, you just slide that back in. You don't need to take the motor off or anything. Just slide that back in. I'm not sure what this is for, but I think you just tighten it down to where that worm gear can't slide back and forth too much. Mine is probably 2 threads off from the top. That's a 5/8 nut there. I believe I already had it pulled out one time. And like I said, I think it just kind of locks that to where it can't wiggle too much. Not quite sure what the purpose is, honestly. But yeah, we'll grease it up again. We'll slide that back in. We'll put it all together. And maybe I won't need to even add any more hot glue in there. I don't think it'll make any difference at this point anyway, but I suppose we will see. And yeah, like I said, hopefully this works. I had this in here while I was hot gluing, and I didn't hot glue it first. I hot glued it. I stuck the you know, the tip in each corner there, and then squeezed until it came out. It looks like it actually shrinks once it dries. But anyway, like I said, we're gonna try this here. Just gonna pause my video for now, and hopefully I'm gonna be at the door trying my new window when we restart this video. And if not, hopefully this video helps somebody, and as always, may God bless you. So just throwing it together here real quick. There you can see I got the plate on. Now we're about to mount it. Just want to make sure that that's bottomed out on there. We're going to mount it on there. And there you see, assembled product. Gear where it should be in there. And here, let's put it all back together again. Also, a little tip to pulling the window back up. I just grabbed a ratchet strap hook, managed to find a way to hook it on this side, then you kind of got to work your way up and in. Now I'm gonna hold it up while I put the actuator back in, or whatever they call that regulator thing, whatever, and then hopefully we can make this work. Another thing to keep in mind as you're putting it together, you want to make dang sure you don't have that too tight, because if you bottom it all the way out and then tighten that nut, then the motor will be stuck when you go to move the regulator up. So make sure you plug it in and you try it before you put it all together. Also, one more thing, make sure none of these fall off your regulator when you take it off, because if they do, you're gonna have an awful hard time putting it all back together again. There you go, you can kind of see in there, right there. That guy fell off for this one, and now I got to put it back on before I put it back together. And to fish those out, this magnet works real good. You just extend it out and fish it out. But yeah, let's see if it works. Here, let's go wide view. There we go. Seems good. Not bad. So, worked for me, hot glue. And just gonna put it all back together again, put all these clips where they belong. Turns out Kicker DS speakers don't make the sound much better in this truck. But anyway, I'm gonna put it all back together again. And hopefully I don't forget anything. As always, if you have any questions, ask in the comments. And maybe I should start asking people to subscribe. I'm doing a bunch of these, but I usually save them for 6 months and then I upload them. I'll never make it like Cletus, I'm sure, but hopefully this helps somebody. And as always, may God bless you.